Thanks to all the witnesses for being here. Ms. Cook, I want to say thank you especially to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for telling your story. And I'm sorry for what you and your family have had to endure. And it's powerful to have you here today. Thank you very much. I want to talk about some of these policies that have gotten to where we are today. Mr. Jackson, if I could just start with you. You were Deputy Director in the Biden White House for gun violence and a special assistant to the president. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You're also affiliated with the Community Justice Action Fund. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm also a survivor of gun violence.
You were their executive director. When was that, the Community Justice Action Fund?
2021 to 2023.
And you're affiliated with them now?
Yes, as executive advisor.
Okay. The Community Justice Action Fund is, do you disclose your donors?
Yes.
All of the donors are public?
Yes.
You're funded by the Tides Advocacy Group, among others?
They're a fiscal sponsor.
This is, right.
They
that would be
handle
a donor.
our HR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a George Soros funded group?
No.
He's one of the donors?
No.
He's a donor to the Tides Advocacy Group?
Yeah, that's our fiscal sponsor. So they handle our HR, our back office, our operations.
Great. Okay. Great. So in other words, I mean,
we're one of 300 organizations.
Right, that they run. You are a subset
we
of
pay
them.
pay them to be a fiscal sponsor.
Well, you are a subset of that organization, which he helps to fund, right? Okay. All right. Just wanted to get a level set here. So I want to ask you about some of the policies that you've advocated, because they're exactly what we see implemented in these blue cities, like defunding the police.
No.
Oh, indeed.
That's not. We advocated for.
Wait, I haven't asked a question yet. We'll get to. I've got a lot of questions. Believe me, and I'll give you time. So let's talk about this report that you issued when you were executive director, a policymaker's playbook. And I'll ask you to enter it into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
Without objection.
Thank you. In this report, you advocate, and I quote now, defunding the police because the long-term goal is fundamentally to reimagine how the state serves its citizens in the project of public safety. You go on to say police departments traumatize residents through a destructive cycle of racist over-policing, and the answer is not to add any more money to police budgets. Talk to me about, I mean, why is it that denying policing to the most vulnerable communities is a solution? I know that's what the blue cities are doing, but why is that a good idea?
Well, look, I in no way stand with defunding law enforcement. I mean,
that's what your report says.
Sheriff Mike Sheridan, who taught me how to drive when I was 16 years old.
Wait. Your report, when you were executive director, said you wanted to defund the police. Do you renounce this report? Mr. Jackson, do you renounce the report that you authored as executive director? Here it is.
Get a second senator to bring up an op-ed or
this isn't an op-ed. This is your report, a policymaker's playbook to reduce gun violence without policing communities.
Okay.
Community Justice Action Fund, copyright 2023, when you were executive director. Now you say you don't know anything about it. Now you say that you haven't heard of it, just like the Democrats who all of a sudden say, oh, we're all for the police. They've been advocating defunding them for years.
Okay, well, you can look at documents or you can look at results.
My question is, do you renounce this report now? You say you no longer agree with this.
And my answer is that I led the efforts to invest $42 billion in law enforcement.
You've advocated defunding the police as executive director of an organization that you still lead and are affiliated with.
Never see me advocate for that directly. What you see me advocate for is a comprehensive approach to reducing violence.
Right. The comprehensive approach is defunding the police, which is what this says
the entire time.
This is so typical of what the Democrats do now. After your policies have transparently failed and led to the deaths of millions of Americans, now you say you've never heard of defunding the police. Your own report recommends it on page after page after page. Let me ask about something else you say. Here's what you say we ought to invest in. Instead of funding the police, here's what we ought to invest in. We need to invest in programs that acknowledge the need for safe space initiatives led by lesbian, gay, bisexual, two-spirit, trans, and gender nonconforming people. What's two-spirit?
Well, look, I don't know exactly. You guys are pulling some interesting quotes.
This is from your report.
If you look at the report, the focus is on investing in violence intervention, outreach workers.
What is you say that you shouldn't invest in the police, but we ought to invest in two-spirit community programs that acknowledge two-spirit individuals.
We are not going to discriminate against that. We're not going to discriminate against any nonprofit that wants to help us prevent violence in our community.
What is two-spirit? You say don't fund the police, but do fund programs that create safe spaces for two-spirit people. What is? I just want to know. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
Well, I honestly, I'm not completely aware of the language or the
spirit
of how that was written. But what I'm telling you is that what
is a two-spirit individual? I mean, really, this is your policymakers' playbook. You are the witness called by the Democrats on this committee, so I assume you reflect their views. Well, you don't want to fund the police. You want to fund safe spaces for two-spirit individuals. What is a two-spirit person?
I feel like I'm looking at a two-faced individual because you talk about reducing
no, sir.
violence.
You're looking at somebody who's reading you your own words, and I'd like to hear an answer.
Programs.
Here's the answer. The answer is you don't have any solutions. You want to invest in gobbledygook and take away money from police officers who actually keep our communities safe, and when you're called on the record, you deny it. It's all there in black and white, and your record is there in black and white, and it's a disgrace.
We reduced homicides by 31%, and as someone who's been shot and nearly killed, I take offense that you would think that the last 13 years
you won't answer my
we're not focused on
that
reducing
you deny
violence.
your own words, and that you are leading this committee astray. And frankly, sir, your policies are absurd. They're absurd.
I don't think we're getting any place, so let's...
At a contentious congressional hearing, lawmakers clashed over gun violence policy, policing, and the role of activist organizations in shaping federal strategy. The lawmaker opened by thanking the witnesses, offering special recognition to Ms. Cook for sharing her personal story. Thank you for being here and for your courage in telling your story. I'm deeply sorry for what you and your family have endured. Your testimony today is powerful, and we appreciate you being here. The focus then shifted to Mr. Jackson, who previously served as Deputy Director for Gun Violence Prevention in the Biden White House and as a special assistant to the President. The lawmaker confirmed Jackson's background and his affiliation with the Community Justice Action Fund, where Jackson served as executive director from 2021 to 2023 and now acts as an executive advisor. Jackson also noted that he is a survivor of gun violence. Attention quickly turned to the organization's funding structure. The lawmaker pressed Jackson on donor transparency and financial ties, specifically referencing the Tides Advocacy Group as a fiscal sponsor. Jackson acknowledged the relationship, explaining that Tides provides administrative and operational support, while emphasizing that the organization is one of hundreds under the same structure. The exchange escalated when the lawmaker cited a report authored during Jackson's tenure titled, "A Policymaker's Playbook to Reduce Gun Violence Without Policing Communities." The report was entered into the congressional record without objection. Reading directly from the document, the lawmaker highlighted language advocating for defunding the police, stating that the report argues police departments traumatize residents through a destructive cycle of racist over-policing, and that the solution is not to increase police budgets. The lawmaker challenged Jackson directly. Why is denying policing to the most vulnerable communities a solution? Jackson pushed back, insisting he does not support defunding law enforcement and pointing to federal investments in policing during his time in government. However, the lawmaker pressed further, asking whether Jackson now renounces the report he authored. The confrontation intensified as Jackson attempted to distance himself from the language in the document, while the lawmaker accused him of walking back positions that had been openly promoted for years. The discussion then shifted to alternative investments proposed in the report, including funding for safe space initiatives, led by LGBTQ and two-spirit individuals. The lawmaker repeatedly asked Jackson to define the term two-spirit, citing its inclusion as justification for redirecting funds away from law enforcement. Jackson struggled to provide a clear definition, saying he was not fully familiar with the terminology, prompting sharp criticism from the lawmaker. This is your policy playbook. You're the witness called by the majority. If you can't explain what you're funding while calling to defund police officers, that's a serious problem. The lawmaker accused Jackson and Democratic leadership of promoting vague social programs while stripping resources from law enforcement, then denying responsibility when those policies face public backlash. Jackson responded by citing a reduction in homicide rates and referenced his own experience as a gun violence survivor, saying he took offense at the implication that he lacked concern for public safety. The exchange concluded with both sides talking over one another, the lawmaker calling the policies absurd and accusing Jackson of misleading the committee, while Jackson defended his record and objected to the characterization of his views. The chair ultimately moved to end the line of questioning as tensions remained high.